Welcome to Tunacheki. This is Mekimushi, and today we are doing a special report on the United Nations General Assembly that's currently taking place. Okay, this year the United Nations is celebrating 75 years since the founding. So United Nations basically, the quick background was it was formed after World War II, and the world was like no more, right? We need a solution that works for everybody. But the problem with this is that not everybody was at the dinner table while the deals were being made. So what happened is that during the Charter of the United Nations, they wrote the United Nations Charter, and they had 5 permanent members since the beginning of the United Nations. 75 years ago, have always been Britain, China, France, Russia, and the United States. Okay, so and the irony is most of these countries were still colonizing Africa while they were still being part of they are still being part of one world. They're still preaching peace and unity, while most of these 5 security members are France, Britain, and the United States were still colonizing other countries. So why are we doing this episode? So this year, African countries have said no, right? Many African presidents during their General Assembly speech have called for Africa to be represented in the Security Council, not as temporary members, right, which they are, but as permanent members of the Security Council. So the presidents who called out for this were the Ghanaian president, Nana Addo, the South African president and current African Union chairman, Cyril Ramaphosa, the Nigerian president, and the president of Africa's largest economy, Muhammadu Buhari, Equatorial Guinea's president, Gabon's president, South Sudan's president. Please note, this is not coming out of nowhere. Africa has been fighting for these permanent seats for almost 2 decades now. Okay? In 2005, the African Union established something called the Uzuzini Consensus. This is a position of international relations and reform of the United Nations agreed by the African Union. It calls for a more representative and democratic Security Council in which Africa and all other world regions must be represented. This means they need a representation from South America, they need a permanent member from Africa, they need a permanent member from Central America, okay? So this is the gist of it, okay? So Africa has said no more, they're not even asking this time, they're demanding for a permanent seat in the Security Council. And why do you think Africa needs this permanent seat, okay? Most of the decisions the Security Council makes affects Africa, right? Sanctions affects Africa. So this is the other question. What if, which will be most likely the case, what if they ignore the African demand for a permanent member in the Security Council? So what do African countries and the African Union do, okay? So the first alternative is quit the United Nations, right? Africa is a quarter of the United Nations countries that form up the United Nations. Africa can go on its own and form the AU and try to manage itself that way. Another alternative is Africa can boycott a United Nations session until they get what they want, right? Africa can protest United Nations activities until they get the permanent Security Council seats. And another alternative is that Africa, which will most likely happen, will just continue with how life goes, right? They'll continue demanding for this generation, the next generation, and they'll get nothing. So another thing that's bothering me is that no international media organization has covered Africa's demand for a permanent seat in the Security Council, right? If you look at the United Nations speeches and the views, right, they're all focusing on Trump, Putin, China. Nobody is hearing Africa's voice in demanding this important seat. Why should Africa want this, right? I've explained it. The Security Council is basically the United Nations. These permanent African countries, right, with veto power, decide everything that's happening in the world. If there's a decision, major decision, if there's sanctions, if there's a statement by the United Nations, it is the Security Council that makes up the what little power the United States has. The other countries are usually just for bolster, PR, and doing resolution. So Africa needs to be one of these countries. So Cyril Ramaphosa, as the AU chairman, demanded for 2 permanent African seats, right? As we just care about Africa, we don't care about other regions of the world that's not represented in the Security Council. The United Nations needs to adapt to the current states of the world today. Africa needs to be represented, right? Africa decisions need to be made by Africans, at least even 1 or 2 Africans, to be included in the Security Council to make decisions that affect me and you. So thank you for watching our United Nations General Assembly Africa report, and let us know what you think about African presidents and African Union and Africans demanding a permanent seat in the Security Council. So thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to catch all our latest videos. And a big thanks to our YouTube members, right? We are growing really fast, and a huge thanks to our Patreon members. And also, thank you so much for watching all the speeches for the United Nations General Assembly 75th anniversary speeches for African presidents, because if we don't cover them and we don't bring them to you, don't expect the BBCs, the CNNs, the France 24s to do it for you, okay? Africa is our continent, and we are the ones who should be reporting about it, okay? So, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye. And please feel free to leave your suggestions, news tips, or topics about Africa you'd like us to cover.